Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's been a couple of weeks. I haven't posted in a little bit, but I'm back. A lot of the games are over the weekend, so kind of want to get into that, have a look at each game, tell you what players that I was looking at, who performed, who didn't perform, a few changes in my side. Yeah, so let's get into it. So I'm going to go over the Knights versus the Eels. That was the first game on the Friday night. To be honest with you, I wasn't impressed at all by the Knights. I was watching Ponga because I really wanted to put Ponga in the side, but I feel like it's going to take a lot longer than I thought for Ponga to get that killer instinct in that 5'8" position. So I'm going to give Ponga a miss in my side for now. I may regret it, but I think it's the safest option. I think there's too many points up for grabs in those halves options with like Dewey, etc. And I think that Dewey and Burton, and Munster, I think that if you go Ponga, even at the fullback position, it's too risky. There's a lot of risk there, and to be honest, I don't want to risk early on in the season, so I'm going to give him a miss. But Greg Marzhew, he's in my side, and I feel like if you don't have him in your side, you are going to miss out on a lot of points in that centre wing position because he is just a beast. He's just a beast. He just breaks tackles for fun. Line breaks, tries. I think he's at 5% ownership at the moment. I think he's an absolute pod. And a good pod at that. And he's in my side. Greg Marzhew is definitely in my side. Another player on the Eels that's managed to work his way back into my side, and I originally had him in my first post a while ago, Sean Russell. I think Sean Russell, he has earned that spot on the wing. I don't see how any other player comes in and takes that off him. Simonson, Dunster, Sean Russell is better. In my opinion, Sean Russell is a better winger than Simonson. He's a better player than Dunster. He's going to score you tries. An Eels winger at 370k, I think he is, or he's around that price. I think you'd be silly. I think you'd be silly if you don't have him in your side at this point. I really do. Matt Dury, bottom dollar cheapie or almost bottom dollar. I think he can make you a lot of cash. I'm personally not going to start with him because I think that there's better options out there, but if you're going to have a look at some players from the Eels who are bottom dollar, I think Dury is the guy for you to make some money. For the rest of the players, I didn't really look too much into any other player between these two sides. I did want to see Adam Elliott, but apparently he's got like a little bit of an ankle. Rolled his ankle in training, so they just thought, rest him up, no point playing him. Other than that, I really don't see any other player here. Yeah, Jermaine Hopgood, he speaks for himself. He's in my side. I think he's in everyone's side who has been paying attention. I think if you haven't got Hopgood in your side, wake up. The season starts in a week and a half. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll go back. Roosters and Manly. So, I was pretty disappointed with the Roosters. I really thought, yes, they were missing, two of their halves, which is a big loss. But Tedesco did nothing. Brendan Smith, he didn't really do anything to warrant the 50% ownership. I've got him in my side, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he is going to be that 70 to 80 point scorer that some people think that he's going to be. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes out and absolutely kills it. But ask yourself this. If Connor Watson was in your side, was in the Roosters side on the bench, would Brendan Smith's ownership be 50% still? Just ask yourself that. He's in my side though. We'll move on from that. Nat Butcher had a game. So did Garrick. I feel like Manly right now, with the injection of Turbo, is going to be a side that is going to be a smoky. I really think they can push. They can push for the top 8 if Turbo stays healthy. I really do. Garrick with the hat trick, I still wouldn't go near him. I think that there is better options, and his price, it's just too much in my opinion. Tuilagi looked really good. I really, really like Tuilagi. The only reason why I don't have Tuilagi in my side right now is because of the buy in round 2. I feel like you could probably get Tuilagi. I'm aiming to get Tuilagi maybe round 6 onwards, but we'll see. Another thing too with the Roosters, obviously with Crichton being out, another player comes into question about whether or not you want to start with him or not. It's Egan Butcher. Now, Egan Butcher's PPM, his points per minute, is actually higher than Nat Butcher's, and he's cheaper. Do you start with Egan Butcher until Crichton comes back, make yourself some money, and see, I'll be going over my updated side after I finish going through these games, but Egan Butcher, it's a toss-up between Egan Butcher and Teague Wilton right now in my side. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, we'll move on. Next game was the Dragons and the Rabbitohs. I'm a Dragons supporter, and I was absolutely horrified by our performance in the first half. Second half, we kind of like made up for it, but that was because the Bunnies rested their players pretty much in the second half. The only player that I was really watching, well, there was 2 players that I was really watching in the Bunnies. I wanted to see how Latrell was. I wanted to see if he was fit. I wanted to see if he wasn't fat. I wanted to see how David Moali went. David Moali's in my side at the moment. He's on the bench. I think he's going to make plenty of cash. Cam Murray's in my side, and he absolutely dominated. Cameron Murray, for me, is a set and forget. Put him in your side until Origin, and he will make you a lot of money. No, actually, he won't make you a lot of money. He'll keep his value, but he'll make you a lot of points. Other than that, nobody else really. Sloan made 55 points, believe it or not, in that side. So I think at 290k, Sloan can be a little bit of a cash grab, potentially, but I'm not risking it, to be honest. That was it with that. We'll go back. Panthers, Saints. Now, this side, the Panthers side is obviously arguably the best side. It's not arguably, they have been the best side in the last 3 years. But I think that they're going to be very, very lost without Api Coruscant. I think that's a huge loss. I think that without Coruscant's guidance from dummy half, I don't know if Panthers are going to be the same side that they were last year, especially without Kickout. Api's a bigger loss than Kickout, but losing both of them at the same time, it's going to be hard. And Garner did not impress me at all. Garner looked rubbish. I think that Garner's going to play that decoy run all the time, and I really think that a lot of people are getting on Garner right now, and I think they're going to be disappointed. I mean, I'm not going to stop you, but I kind of hope you do get Garner, because he is the perfect player to pot against. Isaac Targo, obviously on the try scoring board. I think you'll see that a lot this season. I think Brian Toto is going to be possibly the best centre in the game this year. He will score tries for fun in that side. And obviously it was a disappointing result, but I think come round one, Ivan Cleary would have put an absolute rocket up you know where. So I think I wouldn't look too much into the whole team's performance. Certain players' performance, like Garner, I don't think was impressive enough to have in the side. They didn't have Dylan Edwards, which is obviously a big loss. They played Crichton back at fullback. Crichton is rubbish at fullback. So I wouldn't look too much into that, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. Broncos Cowboys. This was actually a really fun game to watch. I watched this game and the Broncos look good. The Broncos actually look good. They always seem to like look good early on in the season and then they just die. They just die eventually. But I think this year they can push for the 8. I think they can push for the 8, but there was a couple of players that really, really stood out for me. Pat Carrigan is in my side. I think that Pat Carrigan will average you 70 around easy. Not easy, but I think he will average you 65 to 70 points per week. And at his price, I just put it this way: I would rather a consistent Carrigan than a hot and cold Fafita. More because I don't want to be worried whether or not Fafita's going to want to play or not and only get you 40, where Carrigan's just going to churn out 65, 70s each week. I mean, I think Carrigan had something like 15 hit-ups in that game, let alone all of his run meters and tackles and stuff. He's just raw base. Yeah. Val Holmes, he's in my side. Jeremiah Nanai, I'm not going anywhere near. He's got one of the worst base stats in the comp. I think he was going to be relying way too much on tries. Yes, the Cows have an easy draw. Yes, I understand. But I want to try and steer clear of players who purely rely on scoring tries alone. So, anyway, we'll move on. Warriors Storm. The Storm started off really, really slow in this game. They started off slow, and I think that's a direct reflection of not having Paps in the side. I think that the Storm are going to struggle when it comes to attack this year without him. I really, really do. And yes, they scored 24 points, but they scored 24 points against a Warriors side who, let's be honest, they're not going to trouble any sides this year. Maybe a couple of sides, but they're not going to challenge teams in the top 8, top 10. Okay, so there were a few players actually that caught my eye. Warbrick on the wing, he's in my side. He's 200k. I think he's earned that spot at the Storm on the Storm wing. At a 200k, I think you'd be mad. I think come teams this Tuesday, if Warbrick is in the starting side for Melbourne Storm, put him in your team immediately. There's no two ways about it. Nelson impressed me a lot. He is just, the offloads that this guy was making, the offloads, the tackles, the hit-ups, everything that he was doing was impressive. And he made me just think to myself, would I rather Nelson, Asafa, Solomona, or Welch? Yes, Nelson's 120k more expensive, but he is the perfect pod against everyone who is going Welch. And there is a lot of people going Welch. I'll discuss more about that Welch-Nelson switch more when we go over my team, when we go over my current updated side, but yeah, I'm going to keep a close eye on that. Same with Munster. everybody that I seem to look at their team, everybody's team seems to be revolving around Burton, Dewey, but there's no Munster. A lot of teams don't have Munster, and I think it's because of his price. But I think if you can fit Munster in your side, he's going to be the perfect pod play against these people with Burton and Dewey. But anyway, we'll go over that more when we go to my side. Try and hurry this up a little bit. I didn't really watch too much of the Tigers-Raiders game. But I was having a look. I did have a look at the extended highlights, and I was impressed with Talau. Talau actually improved on his previous game. His previous game, he was defensive. He was poor. His defense was pretty poor. I am still really tempted on Talau. I really want to put him in my side. It's either going to be Tommy Talau or Sean Russell. That's where I'm leaning to at the moment. We'll hurry it up a little bit. I've got Adam Dewey in my side currently. Other than that, nobody else out of both of these sides that I really want to look at besides Tarpany, but Tarpany's too expensive to start the round with anyway, to start the comp with. Sharks, Bulldogs. Bulldogs looked rubbish. Bulldogs did not impress me at all. The only player on that side the whole game that impressed me was Josh Reynolds, and nobody's going to get Josh Reynolds. I just didn't like anything. I didn't like anything that the Bulldogs offered in that game against the Sharks. Burton looked below average. There was no excitement in that side. There really wasn't. Yeah, the Sharks are great, and Teague Wilton stood out for me massively, and I am really considering putting him in my side. The only thing I'm worried about is the Wade Graham factor, but I don't think Wade Graham takes too many minutes off Wilton this year. I think that Wade Graham's going to be on the outer this year. I think he's going to be playing more of like a utility role, and I think that they're going to make Teague Wilton the future of that starting Sharks side. So yeah, I think Wilton's the man, I think. Last one, Titans and the Dolphins. Again, Cam Pereira, bottom dollar cheapie, on the wing, scoring tries for fun. If you don't have him, put him in your side. Fafita, obviously I went over Fafita. Fafita did have 2 try assists. He did. So he scored well that game. But if you actually have a look at the whole game, his first try assist was from a drop ball from the Dolphins. He picked up the ball and ran with it. Well done. Congratulations on running with the ball. Other than that, he didn't really do anything all game against the Dolphins, against possibly the worst defensive side in the comp. Fafita did not do much. That worries me. I watched that game in hopes to see Fafita absolutely kill it, and he didn't. So yeah, I was really happy with Boyd. Boyd stays in my side. Other than that, there wasn't really anything else to report from that game. But yeah, let's go over my side. So I've got an updated side now. Smith and Boyd stay in the halves. I have played with this side so much lately. I've had Brayley in hooker. I've had Marnie in hooker. I've had Grant in hooker. I've had everybody in hooker except for Cook. Cook is like a poor man's Grant, and I just don't. I didn't want to go near that, but I've settled with Smith and Boyd. That's going to stay. I'm not going to touch that from here. Welch, Atokamanu, Moali, Fafita. The Welch thing for me, it's going to be between Welch and Nelson. And the way that I'll do this is if when I go into my second row, I've got Cam Murray, I've got Pat Carrigan, and I've got Wilton. Now, hear me out. So if I downgrade Carrigan, to Egan Butcher, that gives me the ability to go Welch up to Nelson. That also banks me 129k. Now, I could use that 129k to keep it and not spend it. And then if I want to move players on after round 1, I can upgrade them. I could upgrade a Marzu if he flops. I could upgrade a Marzu up to someone like Tago. I could do that. I could do a lot of things. But does Nelson get the minutes? Does he get 50 to 60 minutes where he can churn out decent scores of 60 plus? I don't know. So if I put Welch back in, I put Carrigan back in, I can play around with it a little bit more. I could say instead of having Wilton in my side, which I might not, because yes, Wilton trialled superbly, but is he going to score tries against the opening 2 games of the Rabbitohs and the Eels? They're better defensively. I don't know if Wilton's going to be try reliant or not yet. He might. A lot of people are jumping on Wilton expecting him to be this try scoring machine, but I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put Egan in for now. So I'm going to start with Cam Murray, Carrigan and Butcher. Low Eroy? I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name. He impressed me in that Storm side. He really, really did. I'm picking him over Katoa simply because I think that him and Katoa are on the same level, but Low Arrow is cheaper. So he's going to make you more money. And at the end of the day, that is what Supercoach is all about. So he's in my side. Hopgood's in my side. Murdoch Masilla is in my side. I could either go Murdoch Masilla or I could go Stones. It's one or the other. It's either going to be Murdoch Masilla or Stones. Murdoch Masilla is going to be in a Dragon side that lack depth in their forwards. I think that he's going to make you money. He's going to churn out 40 to 50 minutes. Does Ray Stone churn out 40 to 50 minutes in a Dolphins side and make you the same amount of money? He's owned by 31%. Are people going to be disappointed with that? I could also go Hetherington. I could also put a Hetherington in there if I really want to. So I've got options there. I'm going to go back to Murdoch Masilla. More because another reason is if I really want to use my vice captain this for first round, he plays the bye, so he can be like the perfect option for that. So we'll continue on. I've got Cleary, I've got Hines. I'm not staying away from them. People can try and pot against Hines all they want. To be honest with you, I would rather have him right now than try and get him later on. And you are going to want to get him in your side soon, very, very soon. So I'm gonna save the headache of not having him in my side and just having him in my side and not having to worry about it later on. So people say Sharks have a really, really tough draw, blah, blah, blah. If you look back on last season, the teams that the Sharks played last season, Hines averaged 80 plus against those sides in the first 3 or 4 rounds. So I don't think it is a very good idea to try and pot against Hines. Dewey's in my side. I've picked Dewey over Burton because I think that Tigers are a better side than the Bulldogs this season. Yes, that's up for debate, but I personally think that the Tigers are going to score more points than the Bulldogs, which means Dewey's going to get his hands more dirtier than Burton. I think Dewey's more of a Supercoach friendly player. I think I think the Tigers will push for the 8, and I don't think the Bulldogs do. I think the Bulldogs are just going to float around that 11th, 12th mark again. Schuster in at the second 5'8". Schuster really impressed me in that Manly trial. Once Turbo comes back, he is going to love it. And I think players like Ola Kawatu as well. Yeah, exciting times for Manly fans if Turbo stays fit. Val Holmes, he's in my side. I have thought about this so much due to his price, but his draw just reels me in every single time. Marzu is the man. Marzu is staying in my side. I spoke about Marzu before. He averages 7 tackle busts. He's going to score tries on that left edge with Ponga feeding him. Ponga loves that cutout pass to the winger. Marzu scores tries. Sean Russell, I've already gone over Sean Russell. Alamotti, he's in my side. 200k bottom dollar cheapie. Bulldogs winger. Dunster, he's in there just in case the Eels decide to put Dunster in over Sean Russell. Khan Pereira, Warbrick, I've gone over him, Tedesco and Turbo. That is my side. That's how I'm lining up. I'm not changing my side until... I'm not changing my side. That is my side going into round 1. The only reason why this side right here will change at all is if Teams List Tuesday comes out and there are just surprises galore and players don't make the side and blah, blah, blah. I don't see that happening. If it does and my side gets turned upside down, I'll make another post and I'll put it up. But this right here is my side going into round 1. I don't think that this side changes at all. And I've got 50k remaining in the bank. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'll be saving that. And that'll do it. That'll do it, guys. Thanks for watching. Footy very soon. Footy in a week and a half. I'm pumped. Let's get going. Happy days. Happy days ahead. Thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.